Hello guys and welcome back. So now we're going to continue and start creating this geometry. I'm going to use the same initial geometry so that I can recreate something similar to this, and I've started this one with a box, so I'm going to have that as a starting point, and we're going to use soft transforms and various selections to create these intricate details. So this is the box that I'm going to start with, and I'm going to group some points using bounding box. I'm going to use Houdini proceduralism as much as possible. It's not that I don't want to select or have a procedural system, but I think it's also clean this way. We're not wasting a lot of time doing this this solution. So I'm going to group some points like that. Cool. And then I'm going to use a soft transform and transform that group. Like this. Cool. And let's play with the radius, with a soft radius. And let's play with this guy to change the curvature. Cool. Let's do another one, another soft transform. I'm going to reset this by control clicking, and I want to stretch it, transform this so that we have some depth here. So I'm going to move the points like that, sorry, this way, and I'm going to scale it to push it back a bit, something like that. Cool. So now we have somewhat a flat side. And I'm going to use the soft transform again to make a better transition. I don't want it to be too sharp. I'm going to play with this value. Cool, something like that. And I'm going to select the lower part and extrude that. So I'm going to copy the same group, and I'm going to change it to primitive because I want to extrude them. So primitive works better. I'm going to select the two bottom, and let's extrude that. Poly extrude of group 1. I'm not going to worry too much about the names. Something like that. And I'm going to redo the same thing with the upper part, or maybe we can do it in the same grouping. So I'll do copy that and move it to the top. And here I'm going to change the replace existing to union with existing. Cool. So now both are being extruded. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do two separate groups because I want to control the extrusion of each one of them differently. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger. Cool. And I'm going to extrude this part upward. So an easy way to select these faces, we can do it by hand, but I can also use the normals. So I'm going to use group node, group by normals, anything that is facing up, and I'm going to lower the angle to only group these guys. Notice also selecting these guys. The reason for that is because they are flat, and in my original design I had some inset in this group, so I'm going to redo the same thing. So let's take a look here. Okay, let's add some inset. Cool, just a tiny bit. And then this we're going to replace with existing. We just need the top part. Okay, and now the group is going to work because only these are facing upward. And then I'm going to extrude them up. So I'm going to copy that name, paste it here, and let's extrude them. And I'm going to add 20 subdivisions. I want some details here so that when I modify this, we have something to work with. Cool. And let's continue. I'm gonna copy this guy, just a group node, and I'm gonna change it to points, and I want to group the 1 second. I want to group these points. So I'm going to move this guy all the way up like that. And then I'm going to use a soft transform and move those guys. Okay. And I'm going to increase this to create a more interesting transition. Okay, and now you see I've messed up with all these guys, and I'm only interested in changing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to store the position before we change it. So this rest copies the point position into an attribute called rest, and then I'm going to also create a group of all these points. Okay, so I'm gonna create a group and call this static. I don't want to change those. And then here, after the transform, we can use an attribute wrangle and restore the position. So v at p equal v at rest. Okay, but now we're changing everything back. I don't want that. I only want to change the static points, the points in that group. Okay, cool. So actually one more thing. I don't want to change. I want to change these guys. So I'm gonna go back and select these guys, and you know what, let's do it procedurally. So let's create a bounding box. Let's change this. Okay, and this, and let's move it back. Cool. Okay, let's continue. I'm going to select the top group again, so I'm going to use the normals in the hope that the normal strike in the hope that these faces that I'm interested in are flat. So let's see if this works. Okay, W to see everything, so it's cool. And then I'm gonna poly extrude that. So it's called group 4. Let's do and extrude that a bit. And then I'm going to, by hand, select a couple of faces and do an extra an extra extrude just to add a little bit more details to this. Like that. Let's inset the geometry. Cool. Okay, let's clean the geometry. We don't need any attributes at this point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a part of this, select some curves that I like and convert them into poly wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna try and use a, let's see, an end node. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, so it converted everything into wires, and I like this this wire here. I like this edge loop. Okay, so I'm going to try and select that. So select the start point, and then with Shift A, we can find the closest edge to that. So I'm gonna select that part and then Shift A, and this is where I want to see this guy. And then if we do a blast, delete non-selected, we have the curve that we want. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one point. Let me template this this geometry. And let me check something with my original scene. Cool. So I'm going to select one point and transform it. So soft transform. I'm going to move this back here. And let's increase the soft radius. Cool. And I'm going to rotate it. Rotation doesn't do anything at this point. Okay. And we can move it outside because I have an idea to fix this later. So let's move it all the way here. Now I'll explain why in a second. Okay. Cool. So what I want to do is I want to convert this into a wire, basically a tube, and then use that to create and convert it into a boolean, and then I'm going to use this to create some intricate details into the geometry. So first of all, we need this curve to match the geometry, to stick to it, and we've deformed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ray node and reproject it back into the geometry. Okay, and this ray node, I'm going to use the minimum distance and see it snapped in there. So that there's a little bit of volume loss there. Let's create a null so we can see the result without this guy, and let's template it. Yeah, perfect. So only here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to resample this to add more points, and this way we can capture all the details. So I'm comparing it with the previous file. I think the only difference I have was that this wire is down further, like this. So it's fine. I'm gonna use it as it is. I'm not gonna worry too much about having the same design. Okay. Okay, so let's convert this into a poly wire. And let's increase its radius. And let's fuse it. Maybe you should fuse it beforehand. Cool. And let's fuse it again. Apparently it's getting messed up after the projection. And you know what, I'm gonna try one more thing here. I'm gonna convert this into a NURBS curve. So using a convert node. Example, we have a lot of points. Okay. And then I'm gonna convert it back into a polygon. And now it's fine. Okay, let's resample it. And I'm gonna fuse it. Cool. And I'm gonna increase the segments here. So now we have a wire that we can use. And I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning. It's not perfect there. So I'm going to do some cleaning by hand, and this is the stuff I'm talking about. So in this case I'm gonna delete that part there. That's good. And I'm going to select the edges and extrude them all the way up, and using global transform. And then we're going to fill this polygon. And just use single polygon in there. And let's do a bit more cleaning. So going to, after the extrude, going to select them all and scale them to be negative at the y-axis, and that will flatten all the points. Cool, it's clean. And let's try with the boolean. So here, this is our original geometry, and this is the boolean. Let's see what we get. Awesome. It's only this part that I'm not happy with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another soft transform here, and I'm going to move this part outside, and then with the ray it's going to project from the outer layer in, and that's going to make it better. And I don't think we need, see this point there. Cool, and now because we changed the topology, this fix is not working anymore. And I think this guy, the NURBS thing, is not working. I don't need this here. And now it should be much better. Cool. Okay, and now that last we did before is not going to work anymore, because it's based off the topology of the geometry. So I'm going to do an extrude just for this face, and that's it. Don't need a polyfill anymore, and then we should have a nice boolean there. Perfect. So let's do a mirror on this guy and see, and do it on both sides. Cool. So here I'm gonna clip the geometry, on the x-axis, and delete non-selected, 0. Cool. And let's do a mirror. Perfect. And now let's make sure everything is fused. That part, it's okay. Let's see if it works, because it's very, topology and geometry needs to be very clean. Cool. Everything seems to be working. Let's resample this. I want to add more points. Sorry, not the division, but this part. See, it's not working. Oh, it's not working because this guy. Okay, so let's fix it by selecting this face. I think I can select that using the normals. Yeah, now it's not working anymore. See, you have to be very careful with the topology. Now with 3 it's working. And I don't think I need this extrude at all. Okay, much cleaner now. Cool. So we're going to continue adding more details. This is the line I was talking about. See it here. I think the starting point is different in the original example, but I think the idea is very clear. So we're going to continue adding some more details using various other methods, but this is the base geometry. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.